Welcome to the Engaged Jain Studies Podcast, brought to you by Arihanta Institute. Listen to top figures in the fields of Jain studies, religious studies, vegan studies, and social justice discuss pressing issues of everyday relevance. Together, let's move beyond the realm of personal spiritual growth and connect philosophy, religion, and spirituality to the important task of caring for the well-being of society. Learn about your world and how to change it on the Engaged Jain Studies Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Engaged Jain Studies Podcast. I'm Professor Christopher Jain Miller, and I'm joined here by my colleague, Dr. Devinder Pal Singh today. Dr. Singh is a teacher-researcher with over 35 years of experience in education and advocacy on scientific, environmental, and religious issues. He, a founder-director of the Centre for Understanding Sikhism in Ontario, Canada, specializes in writing on scientific and theological topics. He has authored 24 books and published over 1,000 articles in the fields of science, environment, and Sikhism. He is the editorial advisory board member for prominent journals like the Sikh Review, Kolkata, India, and Studies in Sikhism and Comparative Religion in New Delhi, India. With over 24 invited talks and more than 100 TV and YouTube presentations to his credit, he is a prominent voice on social, technological, and environmental issues within the Punjabi and Sikh communities. His advocacy work is grounded in a sound scientific background, given his PhD and decades of experience teaching physics at the college and university levels. He has published over 100 research papers and presented them at 60 national and international conferences on physics and allied topics. Dr. Singh has published 30 articles on various aspects of AI, depicting its impact on the Sikh community and culture. He has raised concerns about AI at 3 global Punjabi conferences, 2 invited talks, 5 science fiction stories, and 1 TV interview. His articles on AI have also been included in books published by other authors. He's also the author of a number of books, most recently in 2025, for example, A Path to Truthful Living, also Exploring Sikhism, Faith, Values, and Heritage, as well as Rationality and Revelation, a Sikh perspective on science, religion, dialogue. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the podcast, Dr. Singh. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Professor Chris. It is nice talking to you, and thank you for all the things you have shared with the viewers about my bio. Thanks very much.
Yeah, it gives me a great pleasure to interview you today. You are teaching a course for us, Sikh Teachings and Practices of Compassion, here at Arihanta Institute as part of the Compassion Studies Initiative. And it's actually our first course on Sikhism. And so when we get into the podcast here, we'll give our students and listeners an opportunity to get to know you, to get to know the course, to know a little bit more about Sikhism, as well as how compassion manifests in that tradition. Before I do that, I'd like to ask you maybe a bit of a ground or ice-breaking question here to get us grounded and started. And that is just simply to tell us a little bit about yourself. I just read your bio, but what would you like the scholars to know about you and the instructors and the students to know about you here?
So, as far as your question is concerned, most of the things you have already shared with the viewers. I would like to say that though I have been a science student throughout my life, then how I turned to religion and how I have become one of the voices in Sikh dharmic tradition. So, though I am a physicist by training, a teacher by profession, and writer by choice, and a lifelong student of Sikh teachings, presently based in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. As the director of Centre for Understanding Sikhism since 2014, I have immersed myself in exploring Sikh philosophy, interfaith studies, and science-religion dialogue. My passion for Sikhism stems from my completion of 2-year Sikh missionary course at the Sikh Missionary College in Ludhiana, 2000. So Here, though I was a born Sikh, but I still wanted to learn more about it. And then I did the course, and then I learned many things on the way during the last 4 decades of my life, the professional life I am talking about. And as you have already shared, I have published some of the books in the Sikh theology. And the latest book which is coming, which is at the proofreading stage, that is Mystic Echoes, all the Sikh spirituality can, through the lived experience of the persons in a store form that is coming. I am trying to myself understand all those things and want to imbibe those things in my life. This is, as you have already shared, written so many books, articles, and TV notes. Basically, I strive to bridge science, spirituality, and technology, fostering a deeper understanding of Sikhism's universal relevance while advancing scientific inquiry. My work reflects a commitment to education, service, and the pursuit of truth, inspired by the Sikh principles of compassion, equality, and lifelong learning. So this is what I want to share with my listeners.
Well, that's wonderful. It's quite a personal touch that adds on to your bio there. And I can see how important it is. And we've had this conversation with a lot of our interviewees here at the Engaged Jain Studies podcast to somehow link the ethics of the Dharma traditions with contemporary issues of our time. And for example, you mentioned science, you mentioned AIs in your bio, and these kinds of things. So I really like how your personal narrative really shows how, while you're trained as a scientist, you've re-explored your own tradition in a deeper way and continue to do that. And as I will say as a teacher, and I'm sure you will as well, if you want to get to learn something, teach it, right? Because it will really bring you deep into the content. And so we're really lucky to have you here both as a scientist and as a teacher of your own Sikh tradition, not only for Sikh practitioners and community members, but for anyone who wants to learn about the tradition and how it might inform their own ethical engagement with the world, and particularly compassionate engagement with the world. And that's really my next question for you is personally to you. You can let the community get to know you a little bit better. What does compassion mean to you specifically?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. In the Sikh dharmic tradition, compassion often embodied in the concept of karuna and daya. Karuna word is also used in our holy book about 11, 12 times, and daya is used much larger numbers. So both these are the basic foundation on which the concept of compassion has been described in Guru Granth Sahib, in which we all aspire to follow. It's a cornerstone of spiritual and ethical life for the Sikhs. To me, compassion in this context means living with an open heart, rooted in the recognition of the divine spark in all beings. It is about feeling and acting with empathy, kindness, selflessness, as taught by Sikh gurus, particularly through the principles of seva, that is selfless service, and vanshakna, sharing with others. Compassion in Sikhism is not just a fleeting emotion, it is an active practice. It means seeing the suffering of others as your own. As Guru Nanak emphasized in his teachings of universal oneness, ecological. For example, when I think of compassion, I recall Guru Arjan Dev's word in Guru Granth Sahib, I see no stranger, I see no enemy. To me, this translates to treating everyone, regardless of caste, creed, or status, with equal love and care, breaking down barriers of ego and division. Practically, compassion manifests in actions like feeding the hungry through langar, community kitchen, standing for justice, dharmic, and offering support without expecting rewards, nishkam seva, selfless service. It is the courage to uplift the oppressed. The Guru Gobind Singh exemplified by creating Khalsa to protect the vulnerables. To me, it is also about inner transformation, cultivating humility, nimarta, and controlling selfish impulses to truly serve others. In my life, this means pausing to listen deeply, sharing resources generously, and striving to act with integrity, even in small moments. It is forgiving others' faults, as the Guru taught forgiveness as a path to peace. Compassion in the Sikh way is both a personal commitment and a universal call to action, aligning my soul with the divine will, which we call hukam, to create a more just and loving world.
Yeah, thank you for so eloquently expressing that to us. It brought up memories for me also here of working a few years back with the Jain and the Sikh communities in Southern California when we were serving food to the poor as an act of compassion in the lead up to Thanksgiving, which I know is something that they regularly do as a community in Southern California. And it really expresses something you noted there, that compassion is in action. It always involves some type of action to the community and extension to the community.
I can add one example here. In Harmandir Sahib Golden Temple at Amritsar, every day, 100,000 people are served free langar without any distinction. Everybody sits at the same level, gets the same food, everything free of cost. So this is compassion in practice. And that is an example for all of us. It is not only in Gurdwara at a particular place we have to do, we have to do it in our daily life. If we can do whatever little help we can do to somebody, some needy person, that is welcome.
It's an incredible daily act of compassion there. I have heard of that as well from several of my Sikh colleagues and friends. And I think it really exemplifies the Sikh approach to compassion in action in such a wonderful way, which is really what your course is about that you're going to be teaching for us here at Arihanta Institute, Sikh teachings and practices of compassion. And I emphasize and practices there because the teachings seem to sort of organically lead to practices and acts of compassion in the world. Can you tell us kind of a broad overview? You sort of have in a way already, but do you want to say more about what this course is about from a very kind of broad perspective, Sikh teachings and practices of compassion? What is it that you aim to accomplish here?
Sure, Chris. Thank you for your interest in knowing about the course, Sikh teachings and practices of compassion. I am excited to guide you through this exploration of compassion in the Sikh dharmic tradition. This course is designed to deepen a learner's understanding of Sikhism's core principles and how its emphasis on compassion, rooted in karuna and their seva and sarvada bala. Sarvada bala means the welfare of all. Shapes both spiritual growth and practical action to today's world. Throughout 4 classes, we will explore the foundation of the Sikh faith, the role of compassion in daily life, eco-spirituality, and forgiveness as a pathway to peace, drawing on Sikh scriptures, historical examples, and contemporary applications. The course is structured to provide a blend of theoretical insights and practical applications, encouraging the students to reflect on how Sikh teachings can inspire compassionate living in personal and societal contexts. Each class includes carefully selected readings, many authored by me or other prominent Sikh scholars, to ground our discussions in authentic sources, including Guru Granth Sahib, historical narratives, and modern analysis. By the end, a student will not only grasp the philosophical depths of Sikh compassion, but also feel empowered to apply these principles in their own life. So, there will be 4 key modules. each building on the last one to provide a comprehensive understanding of compassion in Sikhism. First module is Introduction to Sikh Faith and Culture. It lays the foundation by exploring Sikhism's origins, core beliefs, practices, emphasizing its commitment to inclusivity and social justice. Second module is Understanding the Compassion in the Sikh Way of Life. It examines how compassion is woven into Sikh philosophy and expressed through practices like langar and seva. Third module is Eco-Spirituality in the Sikh Tradition, Compassion for All Existence. Explores Sikhism's environmental ethics, highlighting compassion for all life forms and the natural world. The last and the fourth module is Forgiveness in the Sikh Faith, a path to compassion and peace. It investigates forgiveness as a spiritual and ethical practice, fostering resilience and harmonious relationships. So these are the 4 modules, which well we hear. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. So the course is broken down into 4 modules. Maybe I can ask you just for an elevator pitch of instruction in each one as I go through here. So for example, the first module here in the first class here is the Introduction to Sikh Faith and Culture. A lot of our students won't know much about Sikhism. They'll be coming in with great curiosity. What is it that you want them to learn here about Sikh faith and culture in particular, being that this is the first class we've hosted on our website on this topic? Is there anything in particular that you really want to emphasize for them there?
Sure. So in our class 1, which is titled Introduction to Sikh Faith and Culture, I will first give you the summary and what students are going to learn and how the instructional it is they will have it. The summary, this module introduces the Sikh faith, its historical roots and its core principles, setting the stage for understanding compassion within its framework. We will explore Guru Nanak's teachings, the concept of Ekunkar, one supreme reality, and practices such as Naam, meditation, Dan, charity, and Ishnan, cleansing of body and mind. We will examine Sikhism's emphasis on equality, inclusivity, and social justice as exemplified by the institutions such as Langar, community kitchen, and the Khalsa. Through reading, including my article, The Spiritual Path in Sikhism from Love to Eternal Bliss, students will gain insight into how Sikh values inspire societal contributions globally. What student will learn? Students will gain a foundational understanding of Sikhism's origin with Guru Nanak in the 15th century and its evolution through the 10 Gurus. For example, a student will learn how langar embodies compassion by providing free meals to all, regardless of background, as described in Langar, the Sikh tradition of free community kitchens. That article will be shared with them. We will discuss how Sikhism's rejection of caste and emphasis on universal fellowship fosters inclusivity, drawing on my work, Sikhism, a universal religion. Students will reflect on questions like, how does the Sikh view of oneness shape compassionate action? Interactive discussions will encourage students to connect these principles to modern challenges, such as social inequality and racism. Instructional taste, I would like to add. Imagine sitting in a langar hall where people from all walks of life share a meal on the same level, embodying Sarbat Dapala, welfare of all. As one read Guru Arjan Dev's word, I see no stranger, I see no enemy. Consider how this perspective can transform one's interactions. In class, we will analyze a video, What is Sikhism, to visualize Sikh practices and discuss how seva can heal societal divides, as highlighted in how the Sikh concept of seva can heal today's society. So that video will show.
It seems so applicable to so much of what's going on in society right now, as you and I probably are having this interview, the social inequality, social injustice, and the ways that then there are solutions to this in action that we can see every day within the community. So it sounds like you lay a very solid foundation for students to not only understand the teachings, but also to understand how it goes into practice as well. And I suspect that as we go into class 2, it has a lot to do with compassion. And I say that because class 2 is titled Understanding Compassion in the Sikh Way of Life. So I heard you mention Daya and Karuna before, and I think Daya, you said, is more often used in the tradition in the Guru Granth Sahib. Tell us a little bit about this. What is it to understand compassion in the Sikh way of life?
Yeah. Our second class will be on understanding compassion in the Sikh way of life. So this module delves into compassion, which is in 2 terms. It is reflected in Sri Guru Granth Sahib, Karuna and Daya. It is a central tenet of Sikh philosophy. We will be examining how it is expressed through active service and social justice. Students will study Guru Nanak's teaching on compassion, historical figures like Bhai Kanhaiya, who served water to wounded enemies, and a modern example of Sikh humanitarian efforts such as food banks during crisis. Readings including Ravel Singh's Compassion, the Human Trait, and my article, Compassion in Sikh Dharmic Tradition, a Way of Life, Not Just a Virtue, will highlight how compassion shapes personal behavior and community service. Students will explore how Sikh compassion is dynamic, not passive, requiring action against injustice, as seen in Guru Gobind Singh's creation of the Khalsa to protect the oppressed. We will analyze Bhai Kanhaiya's story, which is available on the network, to understand the impartiality of compassion. To the friends and to the foes, both, they are fighting with each other in the battleground, and he is serving water to both without any discrimination. When he was asked, somebody complained to the Guru Gobind Singh, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I see the same spirit, same jyot in everyone." So that kind of the feeling of compassion, we get inspired from Bhai Kanhaiya's story. Students will learn how langar and organizations like Khalsa Aid embody seva as detailed in Sikh community steps up as global food bank. Available on SikhNet, this article. Discussion will focus on applying compassion in daily life. How can we practice Vanshakna by sharing resources? A documentary will be available, which will be shown to the students. The selfless Sikh faith on the front line. It will bring the concept of compassion to life. Instructional taste for this module. Picture Bhai Kanhaiya on a battlefield, offering water to friend and foe alike, embodying Guru Ramdas' teaching. Look upon all with equality and recognize the Supreme Soul, the Lord pervading among all. In class, we will role play a scenario where students must decide how to act compassionately in a conflict. Reflect on my article's discussion of women's empowerment. How does uplifting the marginalized reflect Sikh compassion? When we look back at the time of the Gurus, there was a lot of discrimination with especially the female gender. And how Guru tried to brought the equality and give them a better status in the society, in empowering them. That we will discuss there. Students will leave inspired to integrate compassion, karuna, or daya into their actions, whether through volunteering or advocacy. So this will be the second module or second lesson.
Wonderful. And I have to pause here and note that I've seen the syllabus, and there is an incredible amount of resources that you've provided to the students as well. And you've been mentioning them as you go along. In addition to readings, many of which were written by you, I also see documentaries, films, videos, and other articles that are very well organized for the students to learn the topics that you will be describing each. So in the first two modules here, you've really focused on Sikh teachings of compassion and compassion in action through various practices. And a lot of it has focused primarily upon human-to-human compassion, which is, of course, one of the focuses of the Compassion Studies Initiative at Arihanta Institute. But it's always important to note that that compassion, of course, doesn't stop at the human species. It may begin there or may end there, but there's also a lot of other life in the universe and on the planet. And so that's why I really like class 3, because then you make a bridge into that in this class 3 titled Eco-Spirituality in the Sikh tradition, compassion for all existence. So build that bridge for us, please. Tell us about class 3.
Yeah, the class 3 goes one step ahead from human compassion to the compassion for the whole creation. This module examines Sikhism's eco-spiritual perspective, emphasizing compassion for all forms of creation, animals, plants, and the environment. Students will examine Guru Nanak's teaching on the interconnectedness of life. As articulated in my article, Prime Environmental Teachings of Sikhism and Harmony of Spirit and Nature, we will discuss practical initiatives such as the Guru Nanak's sacred forests, which are being planted all over the world under the inspiration of the Eco-Sikh organization, and explore how Sikh ethics inspire sustainable living. This module connects compassion to environmental stewardship, encouraging students to reflect on their ecological footprint. What the student will learn in this class. Student will discover how Sikh scriptures like Guru Granth Sahib describe nature as a divine creation, urging respect for all life forms. Air is Guru, water is Father, earth is the great mother. These are the sayings of Guru Nanak. My work on interdependence of things, a Gurbani perspective, will guide students in understanding the interconnected web of existence. They will explore modern environmental efforts such as tree planting initiatives and discuss how to apply these teachings, reducing waste or advocating for conservation. Group activities will involve brainstorming eco-friendly practices inspired by Sikh value. As an instructional taste, I would like to say, imagine Guru Nanak walking through a forest, teaching that harming nature is akin to harming oneself, as well as part of the divine, as are all part of the divine. In class, we will analyze a verse from Guru Granth Sahib. The creator is in the creation and the creation is in the creator. Khalak khalak khalq mein khalak. We will discuss how this applies to modern issues, such as climate change. Using my article, Ecological Teaching in Sikh Theology as a guide, a case study on eco-Sikh work will inspire students to think, how can I practice compassion for the environment daily? So, environmental conservation is one of the themes which we will be taking up in this class.
And no doubt a very important topic that, of course, is related to human compassion because, as you say, it's all one and it's all interconnected. So how we treat each piece of the whole will affect us all, right? And so I really appreciate that you've inserted that into the course here. And I'm also particularly happy about the fourth module here because you talk about a topic that is also actually little research in the Jain tradition. We've had some scholars talk about forgiveness. And here you're going to tell us about forgiveness in the Sikh faith, a path to compassion and peace. Tell us a little bit about this final piece and why is forgiveness important?
Yeah, the last class or the fourth class in our course will be on forgiveness in Sikh faith, a path to compassion and peace. This final module explores forgiveness, which we call in Punjabi or in Gurmati, khima, as an expression of compassion and a path to inner peace. Students will study Sikh teachings on forgiveness through Guru Nanak's hymns and historical examples like Guru Gobind Singh's forgiveness of adversaries. Reading including the concept of khima and the lives of the Gurus and Devinder Singh's Forgiveness and compassion in Sikh teaching will highlight forgiveness' role in personal and community healings. We will discuss the Sikh practice of tankha, corrective measures, as a balance between accountability and compassion. Students will learn how forgiveness in Sikhism is not weakness, but a strength rooted in humility and compassion, as seen in Guru Nanak's call to conquer the mind, you will conquer the world. Man jeete jag jeet. If you can conquer your own mind, you can conquer the whole world. We will explore stories like Guru Gobind Singh's response to betrayal, along with discussion on Thakur's sins and forgiveness in Sikhism. Students will reflect on how forgiveness fosters resilience using the Sikh Rahat Maryada to understand communal practices. Practical exercises will encourage students to apply forgiveness in personal conflicts, enhancing relationships and inner peace. As an instructional taste, I would like to share. Envision Guru Gobind Singh forgiving those who wronged him. Even you see in the last time, Aurangzeb, he wrote a letter. He said, you did this, this and this. And he never attacked the Mughal army. He always defended. Whatever the battle he learned, they fought, all the Sikh Gurus, they fought to defend themselves, their community and the people who were vulnerable. So, 4 of his sons were killed in those battles. Guru Gobind Singh still had the courage to forgive him. He said, justice should be done. In class, we will meditate on a verse where there is forgiveness, there is God himself. Students will engage in a reflective writing exercise. How can forgiving a past hurt free you? Using Singh's article, we will discuss how tankha restores community harmony while upholding compassion. A video, Guru Nanak's way to forgive your past mistakes, Nanganam clips are they have put at that video, will inspire students to see forgiveness as a transformative act. By the end of the course, the student will have developed a deep appreciation for how Sikhism's teaching on compassion through seva, karuna, eco-spirituality and khema offers a blueprint for living harmoniously and purposefully. Each module builds on the last, encouraging students to integrate these principles into their lives, whether by serving others, protecting the environment, or practicing forgiveness. As an instructor, I draw on my extensive research, including works on exploring Sikhism, rationality and revelation, path to truthful living, science in Sikhism, conflict or coherence, and religion and science, to show how Sikh compassion remains relevant in addressing modern challenges. I look forward to guiding the learners in discovering how these timeless teachings can inspire a compassionate, just, and connected world. Let us begin this journey together.
We're very much now anticipating this journey together with you, and we do thank you so much for spending the time with us, Devinder, to give us an overview of your upcoming course here, Sikh Teachings and Practices of Compassion. And I really appreciate the practical element that you've built into each step along the way here. So I feel like when people come out of this, they will have developed more compassion in their lives. But I do ask this question at the end of each of the podcasts, which is that, is there any specific advice that you can give our listeners right now to develop more compassion in their lives? Just as a, from the podcast, is there something you want to share with them in that regard?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for providing me this opportunity. So speaking on the doctrine of compassion in Sikhism, I would like to share with our listeners how they can cultivate compassion in their lives. Rooted in the Sikh dharmic tradition, compassion or daya is not just a feeling in Sikhism, it is an active practice that transforms both the individual and society. Drawing on Sikh teaching, my research and practical applications, here are ways to begin developing more compassion in your daily life. inspired by the principle outlined in Guru Granth Sahib and the example set by the Sikh Gurus. First, practice embrace the oneness of creation, Ekunkara. Sikhism teaches that all beings share a divine spark. To develop compassion, start by recognizing the divine in everyone and everything. Guru Arjan Dev's word, I see no stranger, I see no enemy, remind us to treat all people equally, regardless of differences. So what is the practical step we can take for implementing this doctrine? Practice seeing others without judgment. Next time you encounter someone different from you, whether in background, beliefs, or behavior, pause and reflect. This person is a part of the same divine creation as me. This mindset shifts, promotes empathy, and fosters unity and understanding, thereby reducing division. Second important practice which we can make a part of our daily life is engage in seva, selfless service, voluntary. A voluntary concept in Canada is very popular. Compassion in Sikhism is dynamic, expressed through seva, selfless service without expectation of reward. The institution of langar, the free community kitchen, exemplify this by serving all without discrimination. My article, Namdan and Ishnan, the Sikh way to lead a fulfilled life, highlights how serving others selflessly nurture compassion. So what are the practical steps to implement this doctrine? Volunteer in your community, whether at local langar, a food bank, or a homeless shelter. Start small, cook a meal for a neighbor in need, or help a colleague without seeking recognition. Ask yourself, how can I uplift someone today? This aligns with the core Sikh principle of Sarvat da Bhala, welfare of all. Third practice which we can make a part of our life is practice one shakna, sharing with others. Sikhism emphasizes sharing resources generously as taught in one shakna. So what is the practical step for it is dedicate a portion of your income, time or skills to those in need. For example, donate to a charity like Khalsa Aid or United Sikhs which provide disaster relief, or mentor someone in your community. Reflect on Guru Nanak's teaching. One must perform acts of charity and giving. Seva kart hoye nekami. Make a weekly commitment to share something tangible with others. It can be your time, it can be financial help, or it can be skill you can be sharing. Another is cultivate humility through self-reflection. Compassion requires humility. Equality Sikhism hold dear. Guru Granth Sahib teaches, conquer your mind and you conquer the world. By reducing ego, you open your heart to others. Others are suffering. So practical step to imbibe humility in yourself is practice daily self-reflection through meditation or journaling. Recite a line from Guru Granth Sahib like, the God-conscious being is steeped in humility. Brahma Gyani Parpukar Omaha. And he who maintains humility and contentment truly holds righteousness. And ask, where did my ego block compassion today? This practice helps you approach others with kindness and understanding. Another is stand for justice. Dharm ki kirat. Sikh compassion is not passive, demands standing against injustice as exemplified by Guru Gobind Singh's creation of Khalsa to protect the oppressed. Bhai Kanhaiya's act of giving water to wounded enemy on the battlefield shows compassion even in conflict. Advocate for fairness in your situation. Whether speaking up against workplace discrimination or supporting a marginalized group. Educate yourself on social issues and take action. While signing a petition or joining a community initiative, ask, how can I protect the dignity of others today? And the Another important practice is practice forgiveness. Khima. Forgiveness is a powerful expression of compassion in Sikhism, freeing both the giver and the receiver. The Guru Granth Sahib states, where there is forgiveness, there is God Himself. So reflect on a grudge you hold and consider releasing it. Write a letter. You don't have to send it. Write a letter forgiving someone or apologizing for a past mistake to heal a relationship. Engage with the Sikh practice of tamkha, corrective measures, by acknowledging errors humbly and seeking to make amends as outlined in the Sikh Maryada. There, the guideline is there. And the last 2 points. One is extend compassion to all creation. It should not be limited to only human beings. It should be to all creation, animals, plants, and even the non-living things. Sikh eco-spirituality teaches compassion for all life forms, as nature is part of divine. So, adopt sustainable habits, reduce waste, plant a tree, or support initiatives like the Guru Nanak Sacred Forest, as are inspired by and implemented by EcoSig. Practice kindness to animals by choosing cruelty-free products or volunteering at a shelter. Reflect, how can my action honor the divine in nature? The divine essence is in every being. So we have to respect that, recognize that, and accordingly have a positive mindset toward each being on this planet. Last important practice which we can adopt in our daily life is connect with the Sangat community. The Sikh concept of Sadh Sangat, holy congregation, fosters compassion through collective support. My articles, Sangat, Sadh Sangat, and Sat Sangat at Gurbani perspective explains how the community strengthens compassionate values. Practical steps: join a local Gurdwara or a community group to participate in seva or engage in discussions on Sikh teachings. If you are not near a Gurdwara, connect online with platforms like SikhNet. Participate in group activities such as Kirtan, devotional singing, to experience the shared spirit of compassion. Final words to the listeners. Developing compassion is a journey of aligning your heart with the divine, as taught by Sikh Gurus. Start small, offer a kind word, share a meal, forgive a saline, or care for the other. Each act inspired by daya and seva ripples outward, fulfilling Sarbat Dapala, welfare of all. As I have explored in my book, Exploring Sikhism, Faith, Values and Heritage, compassion bridges the spiritual and practical, creating a life of purpose and harmony. Let's embody Guru Nanak's vision, live truthfully, serve selflessly, and love universally. Begin today. Your next compassionate act could change a life, including your own.
Wonderful sage wisdom from the Sikh tradition there for really a holistically complete life of compassion and action. So I thank you so much to Dr. Devinder Pal Singh for sharing with us not only that, but everything you did today about your course, about your own life, and of course, how we can integrate compassion into our own. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we go today?
Yeah, I think we have covered all the aspects of the course which we are putting forward. So I wish that all of us and even the new learners may learn from this tradition what are the good points, how to implement those in our lives to make this world a more compassionate place. And so that we all of us live harmoniously harmoniously and lovingly with all of us. On this planet, we are just the visitors, and we have to take care of this planet as well, because it provides us this light. All the basic elements of light is provided by this planet, the Mother Earth.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Singh, for your time today on the Engaged Jain Studies podcast. We look forward to your course, Sikh Teachings and Practices of Compassion, and we'll see you all on the next episode.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Engaged Jain Studies podcast, brought to you by Arihanta Institute, an IRC 501c3 nonprofit California corporation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform, or better yet, tell a friend and share it with a colleague. At Arihanta Institute, we bridge ancient wisdom with contemporary living through accessible, self-paced online courses, free events, and a first-of-its-kind Master of Arts program in Engaged Jain Studies. Visit arihantainstitute.org to learn how our curriculum spanning Jain philosophy, social justice, veganism, environmental studies, and more can enrich your understanding of timeless principles in today's context. Jai Jinendra.